Hi, everybody. This is Kelly.
And Susan.
And welcome back to Big Talk with Kelly and Susan. We are representing SF Big. So sorry we haven't been back in a little while. I think it's been like 6 weeks when we really wanted to try to be at least monthly, but I actually traveled, which is crazy. I was on an airplane.
So were you double mask, double shield?
You know, I did just a regular mask because it's so suffocating on an airplane.
Well, I've heard that the airplane air is actually the best. Like it's because it gets recycled and clean. It's like one of the safest ways to travel right now.
Yeah, that's what they say. And so I flew to Dallas for Maggie McKay's wedding to Chris, and it was really sweet. And then this past weekend, I didn't fly, but I was away again. I was away like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, yesterday for Aranda's little baby got baptized.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Going up on us, Kel.
Well, and everybody's starting to do things again.
Yeah, it's exciting.
Which is so cool. And, you know, some of the other reasons why we had to delay a little bit is SF Big had a lot going on as far as content.
Yeah, a lot of great content.
Yeah, so Best of the West happened last week, I believe, and then MIQ had a whole thing about programmatic in China and how to maximize it. So that was really interesting. So there's just been a lot going on. So we had to push our little show off a couple of days. And before, you know, as always, before we move on, I want to make sure that we thank our sponsors. So our annual sponsors are Verizon Media, Quantcast, Wall Street Journal, the Barron's Group, and our big bold partners are MIQ, Playbook Media, Mediasmith, and Spotify. So why don't we just get going and talk to me about some industry?
Yeah, I mean, Kel, I know you've been traveling, so I don't know if you've actually seen some of the news, but some big things are happening this week. You know, our friends over at the Discovery Channel and Warner Media are merging and making one big happy family. I mean, crazy, right?
Wow.
When you think the big conglomerates weren't going to keep merging, they still do. It's
wow. I mean, and Discovery has a bunch of channels within their network.
Yeah. This
So are they the biggest one out there now?
You know, you would think, but I think everything that I've been reading is Viacom. When it comes to like networks, cable networks, broadcasting companies, Viacom still really is holding key and holding that place as the number one due to its CBS partnership with, or not partnership, but ownership of actually a broadcast channel. You know, when you're reading all the content articles about this new merger, you know, Discovery Channel and Warner Media do come to the table with some really great opportunities, especially with the sports. Within Warner, you know, they own the rights to NBA, they showcase across TNT, but they still don't have that broadcast network yet. They don't have that. That's like the one thing they're lacking. But I will tell you what it gives Discovery Channel and Warner Media a big leg up is in the streaming area. If you think about all the content that Netflix is trying to push out and Amazon Prime, you know, on average, I think Discovery Channel spends about $20 billion a year in developing content. So that's going to be huge for them, especially with HBO Max. It's just a really great opportunity for Discovery and Warner Media to get out there and like try and steal more share away from the other conglomerates.
Now, did it happen, or is it just it's being inked right now?
So I think it's being if I read everything correctly, it's being inked and it's a done deal. I'm drawing a complete blank, but the Discovery upfronts were this morning or yesterday afternoon. They did actually mention the merger, so it's happened. Like it's
upfront season.
The upfronts are here. The upfronts are here.
I can't believe it. It's so crazy. By the way, can I just like circle back to last time we did this and we were talking about the Oscars that were coming?
Mm-hmm.
Talking about how expensive it was, and I was like, but it's virtual. I believe it was the worst ratings ever.
I mean, I would love for them to bring back, oh God, I'm drawing a blank on the comedian's name, that did the Oscars 2 years ago. Not James Gordon, he's British.
Oh, Ricky Gervais?
Yes.
No.
Yeah, Ricky Gervais. Didn't he do the Oscars? And he was like making fun of all the actors and like, hey, get up here, accept your award, give your little speech, and then get the fuck off.
Yeah, I think that was a Golden
Oh,
Globes.
okay.
I can't believe they let him do the Oscars.
He was great though.
Yeah. Oh my God, he's so fun. He's so fun. I like the late night hosts that do it too. I love like Stephen Colbert did it. I love him.
And then didn't I'm trying. Amy Poehler did it as well. Was that Oscars?
Tina
Yeah,
Fey.
Tina Fey. That was fun too. I'll be curious to see what happens next year with it. I mean, we already heard talks that NBC is actually not going to be doing the Golden Globes next year to do diversity, and not enough. Hollywood Foreign Press is not bringing enough people, or promoting enough diversity within the film and television industry, which is kind of sad.
It's sad, and I mean, with the Oscars kind of being a flop, and with this news, like it just makes you wonder about award shows in general.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
mean, I didn't even look, but I wonder how did the Grammys do? Putting you totally on the spot.
I don't know. I actually don't. I didn't watch it.
I feel like the Grammys, I don't know, they always do such a good job.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't watch it.
Yeah,
that doesn't mean anything. Yeah.
It doesn't mean.
No, I mean, we usually watch it, but we didn't watch it this year for some reason.
Yeah. Well, weird year.
Yeah, it is. I mean, speaking of weird years and other mergers, I don't know if you also read it in the news. Amazon, of course, all these companies and all these men with their billions are buying more stuff. Amazon is actually set, the deal's not officially inked, but they're set to actually buy MGM. And they're buying them for all their catalog.
MGM?
Yeah, MGM.
Studio.
Yeah.
Wow.
Content's key.
Seriously, that makes a little bit more sense than when they announced however many years ago they were buying Whole Foods, and we're all like, what?
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting now when you go to your Whole Foods and there's hardly anything in there anymore.
Yeah. It's weird. But MGM, like, wow, that is huge, first of all. Huge.
Yeah. But it actually sounds like a positive, I don't want to say like an ugly takeover, but it's a positive thing for MGM. They put themselves up for sale back in Q4 of 2020. And so they were really looking to actually get acquired or purchased. So this is going to be, I think, great for Amazon. It opens up Amazon Prime's catalog to even bigger, a lot more films. And also, like we discussed earlier, compete with HBO Maxes of the world, Netflix's, all the subscription bases. My TV has been overrun with subscriptions. I mean, I think we now subscribe to 5 or 6 due to the COVID, since there hasn't been any great content on the broadcast channels.
Yeah.
So.
Hear ya.
Yeah. Well, this has actually really all interesting stuff going on in the world of entertainment, marketing, advertising. But I actually want to give a big shout out to our friends at MediaSmith. They just won the PetSmart account.
Oh, yay!
Yeah, so big agency news. Big shout out to PetSmart and MediaSmith.
That's awesome. I mean, congratulations, Greg and John, and the whole group of you over at MediaSmith. That's really great news. I just love hearing when any business is coming back to the Bay Area, but especially when it's, friends like MediaSmith.
Yeah, I mean, they're such a big sponsor, and they're so active with SF Big. It's always nice to see good things happen to good people, and I know the team
and Burke, they're really well.
Yeah.
Good job, guys.
Yeah. So let's actually talk about why we're all here today.
Yeah.
Let's talk Clubhouse. So Kelly, tell me what Clubhouse is and what does it mean to you? Well, I know you're so active with it. That's why.
I know. I'm slowing down on my obsession only because I've been a little bit busy. But so in a nutshell, Clubhouse is an audio only social platform, if you will. But it's kind of like listening into your favorite podcaster, but you have an opportunity as they're podcasting to raise your hand. And if you are called on by the moderator, go onto the virtual stage and either just add to the conversation, ask a question, comment, whatever it might be. So it's like interacting with whatever the discussion topic is. Sometimes it's like a fireside chat. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's like a panel discussion. Sometimes it's just one person talking about whatever and asking people for their opinion. Like I said, a little obsessed with it. I joined in mid-January of this year, and I cannot even believe the growth that's happened since then. So it's been in beta with iPhone only, and they just started rolling out Android, I think last week, and then like next week it's supposed to go worldwide. But the interesting thing about it is there's so many celebrities on it, and it's just super fun. Like Oprah's on it.
Oh yeah.
Oprah's on Clubhouse, and
Has she hosted like a fireside chat or?
Yeah, so she's on there talking about, you know, whatever Oprah wants to talk about. Gail is also on, her buddy. The fun thing is they can pop in and out of conversations. They can host their own room. They can just be, you know, fly on the wall listening. But they're all different, doing different things. Like Ashton Kutcher, you know, he's someone that you would expect. He's such an early adopter, so you expect him to be there. He's been on since the get-go, but he's always on. Like, he does so much on Clubhouse, whether it's him having a discussion or him just like being on a panel having a discussion with someone else, or him just popping in. Tiffany Haddish is on all the time. Like, we seem to be on the same schedule.
Maybe because she's your new best friend. I mean, you had your boyfriend, John Hamm, and now maybe it's
yes, John Hamm and my bestie, Tiffany. And it's great because, you know, we all know Tiffany as a comedian and an actress or an actor, but she talks about some serious stuff. I mean, she's also very funny, but that's a great thing about Clubhouse. Like, you can get really, really deep into into any kind of topic and conversation, really, really like hit home conversations, or you can just be in there for something fun. You can be in there to learn something. Like, there's so much that you can do on Clubhouse, and it's fun because it's audio only. So you don't have to worry about like putting a face on. You just have to, you know, listen and then maybe have something to say when you talk. But so it's so
almost like secretly eavesdropping and listening on conversations without having to participate and or feel like you're going to be put on the spot to speak.
Totally. And so here's the funny thing. I was so nervous when I first got on because like you go on and you're like, oh, let me join this room. This is an interesting conversation. You pop in and then you're frozen with fear because you're like, do they hear me? Like, what is happening? I don't want to push any of the buttons because I'm afraid something's going to happen. But know this, unless it's a private room, you're going to enter a room already muted, and you're going to be muted until someone unmutes you and someone invites you up to speak. So don't worry, jump into any room. It doesn't matter. But yeah, you could totally spy. And here's what's funny too, like there's so many how-tos on Clubhouse. I mean, there are so many topics out there. There's so many different clubs. Can you tell I'm totally like passionate about this? But there's a lot of like how-to on Clubhouse.
Yeah.
So if you're new to Clubhouse, you can go in these rooms to learn about how to use Clubhouse. And I was in one of them, and it was really funny because it was a comedian, I think, teaching a podcaster how to use Clubhouse.
Okay.
And people started joining. And then Perez Hilton was in the audience, and they were like, is that you, Perez Hilton? And so they brought him up to the virtual stage, and sure enough, it's him. And then he's telling them, you know, his tips and tricks about, you know, being on Clubhouse and how he's using it and the things not to do and the things to watch out for. So yeah, it's really fun.
That's
and
really cool.
You are.
So I mean, I know I am on Clubhouse and I've gone in and listened to a couple of things, but how does the general population or brands, how do they get onto Clubhouse?
So it's invite only, first of all, as you know, because I'm invited you. So it's invite only, and don't be scared about that, because every person who gets invited immediately gets like 3 other invites. And then the more active you are on Clubhouse, the more invitations they give you.
Okay.
So, you know, you could have a ton of invites just ready to give out, and they'll list everyone like who you're connected to. They'll list them. So you can just look through your contacts and say, oh yeah, you know, I want to invite Susan Edmonds onto Clubhouse, and just send them an invitation. They can join or not. But up until now, you had to be on iPhone.
Okay.
But now we have Android. But that's it.
That's cool.
And how do brands use it? So that is interesting. And I think one of the reasons why we really wanted to talk about this, because there's so much opportunity out there. Adam Kleinberg of Traction wrote an article in Adweek, I think it was in February, just about like, if you're a brand and you don't know about Clubhouse, you basically should start to listen and see what's going on there. What I love about it right now is there's nothing very obvious branding on HubSpot. That's what I'm about to talk about. On Clubhouse, the only thing that I've seen as a brand so far, and this is just me, I'm probably in all kinds of different rooms than other people, but I know like HubSpot hosted a room, and their icon was their logo. But it was just as a host. They're just facilitating a conversation. It wasn't like, they're there, talking about what they do in their software. It really is just like they wanted to facilitate a conversation. And so they did. And, there's, Elon Musk is on and Mark Zuckerberg's on, but they're not like, buy a Tesla and get on Facebook. They're talking about things that maybe they're passionate about or things going on in the world.
So it sounds like brands aren't there directly promoting brand XYZ. Like the CEO might be talking about something that's really one of their passion points, and it directly then can indirectly influence consumers.
Yes. And I think that's the most interesting piece. So there's CEOs and CMOs and CFOs and presidents and blah 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 all on all the time, and it's bringing this humanity to whether it's their corporation, their organization, themselves, whatever it is. They're not like, buy diapers. They're on there talking about real things as a human. And so it is such an interesting way to quote unquote brand and build a brand, because you're bringing that human aspect to it.
Well, I think it's so interesting because, we're so in the social media space of being on our phones, looking at Instagram, looking at Facebook. And sometimes I don't know if I'm being sold to or not. And like sometimes I see things, I'm like, I think this person's like fake and it's an influencer, right? What I'm hearing and what I've seen in my little participation on Clubhouse is that it really is an authentic conversation. Like they're talking about stuff that's important to them, whether it's business related, personal, global, world, ethical, and they're just having these conversations out in the open, and you can literally jump in and eavesdrop.
Yeah. It's so cool. And, some people, like when I was first on, there wasn't a whole lot of people that I knew on there. That's why Tiffany and I are such good friends now.
She's your bestie.
But like, Marion Thomas, who's been in the industry forever, and I just adore her. And I haven't seen her forever. She lives on the East Coast, but she popped up and I followed her. And one morning, it was super early in the morning in San Francisco, but she had started a room talking about, hey, have you been in digital media forever? Like, come chat with us. And I was like, oh, yeah, I'll go in that room. And, I forget how many people were in there, like maybe 30 people or something. But, I got on my little stage and they invited me up to the stage. I said whatever I had to say. It was just so fun to connect with someone that I hadn't talked to in a while. And by the way, and then now I listen to like anything media just to listen to what's going on. And the conversation that they were talking about was the whole like loss of the cookie.
Oh yeah.
And IDFA restrictions and what's going to happen. And the funny thing is they were talking about that back then, about how with this different measurement, that things like podcasting, which is kind of hard to do full measurement on and full targeting, especially like regionally and all that, like those are like, you're coming back to things like that are all about the content. And I thought that was so interesting. And it's like kind of another thing with Clubhouse. It's all about the content and the conversation.
Yeah, no, I think that's great. I love that the whole idea of the audio, I don't want to say audio is making a comeback, because it never really went anywhere, but I think it's just a great forum to listen on conversation.
Yeah.
And also like with the way the world has happened in the past year, I don't want to go to another Zoom event. I don't want to sit and watch a webinar. Like I've seen a lot of them.
Right.
So I feel like this is a great way to learn about new programs, new content, industry news, things that I'm passionate about, like cryptocurrency. I listen to the Coinbase conversation. So it's interesting.
And didn't you were telling me about something that you popped in on, that they were giving away Cinnabons?
Oh yeah, definitely. So the CEO of Cinnabon's parent company always hosts a weekly podcast about business, and she calls it like her office hours. And literally, she talks about pretty much everything about building brands, to getting out there, networking. And during the conversation, she asked if anyone wanted some Cinnabons. You know, do you want to try one? And for everyone that raised their hand, she got their address and sent them like some samples. I mean,
I love that.
that's what I thought was awesome, because it wasn't about Cinnabon as a corporation,
right,
focused around Cinnabon. She was there talking about being a business leader, what her work experience is like, how she got to be the CEO. And then as a side, you know, indirectly, she's like, who wants some free Cinnabon? I mean, I would take one. I think they're amazing.
I mean, right?
Yeah. And
I just think that's so cool. And I think, you know, when you mentioned that, the thing that struck me is exactly that. It wasn't like Cinnabon is hosting a room. She just happened to be in there as a human, and she's like, hey, I can give you all some freebies if you want.
It's almost like building buzz through word of mouth, and like having a side conversation, which isn't like, hey, here's my brand, go buy this product. It's, this is what I'm doing, this is my passion point, but this is also where I work, so who would like some?
Right. Right.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I think it's great. I had a couple questions get submitted from our newsletter, and one of our SF Big members actually wanted to see if we had any advice about joining Clubhouse and what they could do for their brands.
Oh, for brands?
Yeah.
Well, that's interesting. I mean, because you and I have been kind of going back and forth, especially, you know, when social media first came to the table. I was like, what do we do with social media? How do you be a brand and be in this very, very personal space?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that carries over to Clubhouse. So, you know, I think you were the one that said, you know, it's all about being authentic.
Yeah, I think that's like totally key, is to be authentic in your brand. Like, I don't think you need to fake anything to be anything. Just come to a plate with who you are. No, and everyone always sees right through if you're being inauthentic. I think that let your passion shine about what you're promoting. Whether if you're the CFO and you really are into finance, or maybe you're into the taxes, who knows? But like, have your passion shine through, and don't have like the marketing be the focus of like, hey, let's get this product that we're launching off the ground. Like, talk about what you want to hear, because you're going to get people wanting to listen in. There's so many different walks of life on Clubhouse.
Yeah, it's funny. I tell my clients that all the time, like, just figuring out what you're passionate about. And then, like, it's hard not to be authentic and real when you are dealing with something that you're passionate about.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's the best way to approach something if you're feeling passionate about it, if you're passionate about a topic. So even if it is, you know, whatever brand, but you're passionate about, whether it be recycling or whatever it might be, talk about that. Yeah. Talk about that as a brand. It doesn't have to be about what you sell or what your service is.
Yeah, I think that's the key thing there. When you are joining and you're getting in and you're experiencing Clubhouse, how, like, I know you briefly talked about Mary and how you jumped on stage about media, but how many like, you know, Clubhouse forums or clubs that you went to, did you listen first, you know, to get your feet wet, to get comfortable?
So many.
Okay.
I was terrified at first. I was so terrified. And I still just pop in. And then I, you know, got up the nerve to like start a little tiny room and, you know, see who comes in and, you know, see who pops in. And then, you know, maybe a little more. Sometimes I'm just like, instead, I work with this organization called Collectively. Mm-hmm. And sometimes when I'm talking to the founders, instead of like hopping on a Zoom or a call, I said, let's just talk on Clubhouse. And if anybody is interested, because they're an organization that helps women in the workplace. And so I'm like, hey, if anyone pops in, you know, whatever, it's just you and I, you know, it's us talking about our work stuff. But hey, it's really important work stuff. So if anyone happens to join us, they join us.
Well, that's great.
Which I think is really cool. And then I got super brave and I actually applied for my own club.
Okay.
Which takes a little while. You have to be active, and you have to be active enough to like get into their algorithm.
Yeah.
And you have to fill out this huge application. But I have my own club now.
And have you launched it?
I haven't officially launched it, but if you happen to know about it, which I know you do, but you haven't been on it, you've been in conversations prior to it being a club. Anyway, it's called Thanks Bitch, and it is a passion project. So talk about being passionate about something. It's a passion project I've been working on for years, and it's all about women in the workplace and treating each other maybe a little bit better. And I'll just kind of leave it at that. But the conversations are fun, and sometimes they're serious, but it's all about healing and listening to everybody else, listening to other people's perspective on things. And I think that's the magic there. You get in your own head and your own story, and it's really nice to be able to like say something and have everybody else join in and know, number one, that you're not alone, or also like see it from a different perspective. So
that's interesting. I mean, we all know everyone has opinions. So I'm assuming like anything, sometimes Clubhouse has like moderators, but like how do they protect the people at Clubhouse from maybe the trolls of the world or the people that are yelling out racist stuff? I mean, with the way the world is, how are they policing it?
Yeah, so it is so if I'm like the host or the moderator of a room, like I have control over, you know, who can speak, who can't speak. I have control over the mute button. So if anybody happens to start, you know, saying something that's inappropriate or, you know, horrible, whatever it might be, you have the option to mute them. And the nice thing also is everybody in that room, whether a couple thousand people, a couple hundred people, whatever it is, you have the opportunity to report that user.
Oh, okay.
And also things that they're kind of working out that seem a little bit sensitive right now is if you are a troll and you put a negative topic up, you could get yourself kicked out of Clubhouse completely.
Oh, wow. Okay.
You could have your club taken down. Like they're monitoring it. And some people, I've been in rooms where some people have talked about that they've had that happen to them, but it was like a mistake. So there's like they're being a little too sensitive.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, what I said, I don't know why I got kicked out. You know, we weren't talking about anything, but so they're working out the bugs and trying just to make it as safe as possible. But they want everyone to be able, you know, they want everyone to be able to be heard, but they want to protect everyone from, like you said, like racist and harmful remarks.
Yeah.
Like, there's a bunch of jerks out there, and everyone's willing to jump in and use the new platform to, you know, spew their disgust.
Yeah.
So
well, that's good that like Clubhouse is staying ahead of it. It sounds like they're also relying on their members to also like, you know, police other people. Like,
yeah, and this is just my, you know, this is just my experience. I haven't done any real research on that. This is just from what I've seen and the clubs that I've been into, listening to people about it.
Okay.
But it's also like, again, here I am, I'm like so excited about it. But like, there's just rooms for like meditation. Like there's just rooms for anything, there's music, there's happy hours. There's so much that goes on there. Like you can spend all day just exploring all the different rooms. It's so interesting.
You know, I'm really curious to see with the Android release going global, what that impact is. Cause I mean, we always think that the iPhone rules everywhere, but we know across the globe that that's not the case. So I'm very curious to see what the different Clubhouses, like the more diversity, the more topics, what comes to light.
Yeah, I mean, there's people all over the world on this all the time. Like I'll pop into something, I'll wake up super early one day and they'll just be finishing something, you know, in the UK. They'll just be finishing up a room. And by the way, some of them do like 12-hour rooms.
Oh,
like conversation. So they'll put a topic up and they'll just keep going and going and going and going until like the hosts are just like, okay, at this point we have to shut off. We've been on for 12 hours.
That's intense. That's a long conversation.
Yeah. It's a really long conversation. But people pop in and out. Like one of the things that I would like to see, and I don't know if they've done this now, one of the things that I would like to see is how long or when that room started.
Oh, like the history of it.
Because a lot of times I'll pop in and something's ending, but then again, one of the rooms I was in, they were on for 12 hours and I was just coming in at the end of it, but still, like they were on for 12 hours. So you never know how long they're going to be on, but it sounds like they're on for a long time. Mine, I've only been 45 minutes at most.
I mean, maybe we need to take our next SF Big Talk to Clubhouse.
Oh, don't get me started. I have been a bug in SF Big's ear since the get-go. I really want SF Big, and I'll probably just do the application myself at some point. I really want SF Big to have its own club and to have conversations there. And one other thing I wanted to say is there's a lot of podcasters or new podcasters, old podcasters who are also using Clubhouse, and they're recording their podcasts at the same time. So I've popped in a couple of rooms where people were talking about that, and I think that was the comedian podcast conversation that Perez Hilton joined.
Yeah.
But I know Joey Dumont, who's one of the great people of our industry, and he lives here in San Francisco, and he just wrote a book, Joey Somebody, and he has a new podcast that he just launched called Laugh Your Cry Out. But I've popped in a few times because I'm connected to Joey, and I popped into his Clubhouse. And that's exactly what they were doing, figuring out how can he have his podcast and have his Clubhouse at the same time. So you're not doing a million different things. And you can have still the quality of your podcast and have a conversation and an interview with someone, but then also have that live content with Clubhouse. So really cool.
All right, that's great. I think we've answered all the questions that got submitted, and we're just about out of time.
Oh, that went so fast.
I know. I feel like we could talk Clubhouse another 2 hours.
I know. Well, if anybody has any questions about Clubhouse and you want to submit them to SF Big, go ahead and do that. And speaking of Joey, we are going to be doing a book reading. Joey's going to be doing a book reading, I think sometime in June.
Okay. That's great.
So yeah. It's nice to support the people of our industry that are, out doing something different now. And he is definitely gone out there and doing something different. So, and I think that's all of the content I'm thinking of for SF Big. Also, we still have the mentorship program, and we've had to delay it because of a couple of mentors and a couple of mentees are unable to do it. And obviously with COVID restrictions coming down, like people's just lives are changing. So if you do want to be a mentor, please let me know, mentor@sfbig.org, or if you are a mentee or know a mentor or mentee, because we want to get that off the ground.
That's great. Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks for everyone for tuning in with us tonight. We will be back hopefully in the next 4 weeks, so you won't miss us too much.
And we'll try to tease out what the topic is a little bit a couple days before.
Yeah. Oh, it's great talking with you, Cal. I'll talk to you soon.
You too.
All right. Have
always.
a good night.
All right. Talk soon.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.